everyone. Welcome back again. It's Research Rex podcast. We're here at EACD, Galway, Ireland 2026. And in case you haven't gathered already, it's been slightly cold, not slightly, it's been really cold. It's been quite windy, but the mood at this conference is still very high because we've been sharing lots of ideas with each other. I'm just looking forward to bringing, hopefully, lots of good information for you as clinicians, working in your practice of some ideas of what you can implement. And our guest that we have on right now is going to talk all about that, things that we can implement across different contexts as well. This is part of her mini symposium. Welcome back to the show, Dana Anaby.
It's good to be back. Thank you.
It's so good to have you back. I love that there's a Dana, there's a Dana. I just feel like we're at home here right now. It's really good. Now, the title of your mini symposium is Building Capacity for Real-World Participation, Evidence from Youth, Parents, Clinicians and Organisations. I have to say, coming up with a good title takes hard work, doesn't it? Like to bring it all into one. And this title really captures all of it. I love everything about this. It just talks about real world practice,
yes.
so to speak. But I want to break it down a little bit, Dana. What do we mean by building capacity? It's a very popular term at the moment. You know, everyone wants to build their capacity. What does it actually mean, though?
Okay.
Yeah.
So, we were asking ourselves the same question in the beginning. What is capacity building? And we decided to do a scoping review.
Great.
To really get a better understanding. And I will be quite frank that we didn't find one unified, consistent definition of capacity building because we felt it's much more complex. And those definitions that we found, a few of them were not broad enough and couldn't really capture the complexity of capacity building.
Sure.
And we felt sometimes it's kind of elusive. So we have to have like a really more clear working definition.
Sure.
So however, we did find a list of key ingredients and principles in the scoping review. And we use them in order to build a working definition of capacity building. Okay. So all those elements are interwoven into our definition. And the way we see capacity building is not just an outcome, it's also a process. And it's a process for pursuing real-life participation that occurs in your natural environment.
Yeah.
But having a participation that is really tailored or in line with the person's visions and goals for meaningful life. So it's not just any type of participation. It really needs to be aligned with the youth or the child's vision for a good life.
Yeah.
And we also see capacity building as a strength-based approach where people are having the skills or gaining the skills to problem solve around barriers that affect their participation. And we also realize when this definition is that the barriers are not always the same. Yeah. They are constantly changing. That means we always have to solve problems, right?
Yes.
Because we have changing circumstances, context, like you were saying. The desires and aspirations of the child or the youth can change as well. New roles or new opportunities might come up.
Yes.
So those things are really important for us to consider. Those life transitions, right? So it's an ongoing process. It doesn't stop.
Yeah, that's
And it's really important to have those kind of skills in hand to create this agency. So youth could reflect on their current and past experiences. We have learned that past experience can really help youth learn from their experience, how they solve problems in the past, in order really to build their agency to lead a life that matters to them.
Dana, I love that so much. And so much of the themes that have come through in the conference so far is, think about what it would be like for you first, and what you would like to make sure that we're not just doing something different for our children with childhood onset disability, right? And keeping those expectations. And as you were saying that, I was reflecting, we talk a lot about, building our capacity as clinicians, as a human. And you're so right. It's not one-dimensional. It's an ongoing process. It changes within each context and environment that I might be in. But I want to build my capacity to pursue a good life. Like ultimately, there's an internal desire, and that agency is such an important part of it. Agency is a word that is starting to come out a whole lot more. Agency and autonomy. Can we dwell on that a little bit? Like agency, what's that really?
I think it's a way the message is for the youth or the child and the family to take ownership and control, first of all, on their own life.
Yeah.
By really, I talked about vision of the youth, really understanding their own vision and their own goal. So that's really very important for agency. You have to start really identifying yourself and really get a good understanding of what's important to you.
Sure.
So all the process of choice and preferences are really important. It's a really important exercise.
Yes.
Particularly if you want to have a meaningful life, right?
Yes.
So, and the other part is like empower them to lead the change.
Yeah, sure.
So more youth-led or child-led kind of interventions. Where they are engaged in self-discovery about solutions that can work for them. What may not work for another person, but really, so mostly like it's helping them guide the discussion and guide the process. So I think that speaks to agency in practice, at least.
Beautiful, beautiful. So that's building capacity. And the next part that I really love in your title, gosh, you've got so many good words, is real world. And you've got them in inverted commas.
Yeah.
What do we actually mean now in real world?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is not something that we do in the clinic, so outside the clinical room or the organization. And the real world is meaning the context, the real context of the child or the youth.
Sure.
With the people they want to participate, not in some kind of a group that we organize, with the settings that is close to their neighborhood maybe, and not necessarily in the other side of the city because there's a rehabilitation center or there is a specific program.
Sure.
So really making sure that they participate in their own neighborhood or context with the people that they are interested to participate in.
Yeah, sure.
And I think that's the real life. And the real life brings different contexts and different barriers.
It does.
So that needs to be considered, that it completely can be seen differently from one child in one setting, even if it's the same activity, when it occurs in a different setting.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's very person-centered. Everything about this is looking at the one person and in their context, but that can still change depending on where they might go, home versus school versus whatever community event they might be part of. So building capacity for real-world participation. What's the overarching framework we go from? As you're talking about that, I can't help but to see the family and participation-related constructs. I can see that so clearly in my head. When we're talking about participation, let's just go there for a moment, because I think it feels really, I mean, you're the participation lady. And it's what you study. It's so obvious to you. And when we're here at a conference like this, and even to the people who are listening on the podcast, we're kind of all pretty converted about what participation is. But we're still having conversations with people, really, to bring them on the journey of why participation is important. How would you describe that to someone and helping them to understand what participation actually is?
Well, participation is about engaging in activities, first and foremost, that are meaningful for you. But we have to bear in mind that we're not just participating in activities that we want, but also activities that we need to do.
Yeah, sure.
And we're expected to do.
Sure,
right?
yeah.
And the way I see participation, to bring the choice into this kind of equation, I think that the preference and the meaning, so the choice that is attached to the concept of participation is key.
Yeah.
Because, you know, when people are not, what we have seen in studies is that if you prefer the activity, if it's your interest, you'll sustain it. It will be sustained. You will continue doing it.
Yes.
Otherwise, you'll move to something else.
That's right. Yeah.
So that's really, really important. And the other aspect that is important is the subjective experience, is the quality of participation. So it's not just about doing it, being there, or filling my day with different activities. It's like really feeling a sense of belonging and feeling a sense that I'm part of something.
Sure.
And really feeling emotionally engaged in the activity. So there's some kind of emotional aspect to it. So I think those two components are really, really important.
Yeah.
And it should be a natural thing for everyone, right?
Yes.
To participate.
Yes.
But unfortunately for your children with disability, it's not always the case.
Yeah, you actually need to. You're so right, because it's almost a given. It's such a privilege, really, isn't it, when you get these opportunities to participate. But for our children, you do need to break down and understand what the barriers might be, what the facilitators might be.
Yeah.
And I love that you've got there. So building capacity. The word agency is part of that, and participation. They kind of all go hand in hand.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
So you're looking a lot at the evidence from youth, parents, clinicians and organisations. And I have to admit, participation, formally recognised, WHO, 2001, we've come a long way since then. But there's often when we talk about participation, we do focus a lot on the person sometimes still.
Yeah.
It's like, how can that person participate?
Yes.
And your talk here is making us think bigger and broader, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So it comes without saying that we start at the youth, or maybe we don't have to start there, but we always collaborate with the youth and the
Yes.
family, the child, the youth, and the family.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, in
What's
order to
motivating?
build their capacity
Sure.
to solve problems and to come up with their own ideas, how to guide their participation. And how to identify resources in the community, but not just to find resources, but to utilize them, because we can
Sure.
build knowledge, but how do you
course.
take them one more step from acting on the knowledge, from what, because there is a big gap
There's a
between
gap
what I
there.
know
Yeah.
and what I do.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's the part that is, I think it's missing. We can bring information,
Sure.
we can bring knowledge, we have resources in place. I don't think we haven't done that job. But the idea of acting
doing
on the
it.
knowledge,
Yeah,
the doing
yeah.
part is the part that we are looking for when it comes to the target end of capacity building, right? That they will
Yeah.
not only have the knowledge, I know how to solve this problem, but okay.
Fulfilled within that. Yeah, that's
So
great. Yes.
So that's important. And also what we have learned, and this is also what the mini symposium is trying to show, that yes, we work collaboratively with the youth and families, and we actually showcase in this mini symposium 2 approaches that can do that: the PrEP approach, working with youth, for example, and the OPC, occupational performance coaching, that working with parents.
Right.
So that's, I would say, in the individual level, right, and the micro level. But we also recognize that it's important to work with stakeholders in the meso, and the organization level, because we can't just prepare the youth for life. We need also to prepare the environment for the youth participation, right?
Sure.
So it's really building capacity of organizations such as schools and community centers, such as gyms, to have supports in place
Yes.
in order to facilitate participation.
Yes.
And I think that if we go like bottom up and top down, we actually, when taking this kind of a multi-level approach,
that's
we
right.
actually make it easier for everyone.
Right, of course.
Because
Have a
sometimes-
positive experience so you can actually try again.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Because some youth would have barriers to go to the gym, maybe just because of attitudes or lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
But from the other side, maybe the trainer or the person in the gym don't feel at ease because they don't have the knowledge or the information or how to make their program accessible.
Yeah.
So if we tackle the problem from both sides,
Wonderful.
I think that we can, we will also build better societies. I think.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's such an integral part of, if we're talking about attitudes, I spoke with Hercules Lecce a few weeks ago, kept talking about you, by the way. He's like, Dana Anaby and PrEP. And he was talking a whole lot about one of the barriers for part of his review was looking at Down syndrome. And one of the biggest barriers they identified was attitudes. Yes. And so a positive attitude is a facilitator, and a negative attitude, funnily, is a barrier. Yeah. So, attitudes is a big thing. And I couldn't help but to relate your example to... we've got some youth that we have in my hometown in Perth, and they wanted to use their AAC devices at the local shopping centre and order some drinks. Yeah. And so they have been preparing for it, and the shopping centre, we'd actually partnered with them, and they said, all right, let's actually look at some of the shops and give them some knowledge, almost like not an accreditation, but we understand what AAC is, so this is an AAC friendly place.
Okay, cool.
And then they can come up and then they can order a drink. But if you don't do that work, they'll literally go up and someone who probably has never seen AAC before, and to give time. And there's a lot of work to do, isn't it, to come around those environmental contexts.
Yeah, and also recognizing that those service providers, whether it will be in the market or in the shop center or in the gym, they need support.
They do. They do.
So
we do this every day.
Yes.
We've been familiar with it, and it's taken years of training
Yeah.
to understand that and language.
Yeah.
And there's also probably an element where, yes, they need support, but they also probably need a little bit of, I'm going to use the word grace, because they're probably going to say the wrong words. You know, sometimes we can be very PC about things and people don't know what to say. It's like, am I allowed to say this way? And we do need to make sure they have a positive experience too, don't we?
Yeah, exactly. Because once they gain this kind of confidence, and they will be much more at ease to even accept another person with disability to the program, just because they haven't had an experience.
Yeah, that's
or they haven't
right.
had they don't know who to ask. But once you provide those kind of supports, and that's part of our mini symposium about the Gym Spark.
Yes.
That's a project that was done by Noah Shields with gyms in Australia.
Yes.
And lastly, in the school, this is the one element that of building capacity we're looking at it a very unique way. Michal Weitzman-Nitzan, what she did with clinicians who are school-based clinicians, she actually built their capacity to make change in their own organization toward participation-focused practice.
Wow.
So it's not just working with the child or participation goals.
Yeah.
It's really making a change within their organization. It's really giving them the skills and the knowledge to become knowledge brokers.
Yes.
The clinicians.
Yes.
And she will present fabulous kind of whole school projects that they did that are participation focused. So how we actually shift the focus in schools as well.
And how would we go about that? Obviously, I mean, it's more, there's a lot there compared to the time we have to talk about in a podcast, of course, but what can we do to empower more people to be knowledge brokers and to build their capacity? What are some of the, can you give us some examples of what that looks like?
Yeah. Well, capacity, I think like knowledge brokers do not necessarily have to be the expert in the field of participation.
Yeah, okay.
But they need to have the kind of, I see them as site champions or local kind of ages of change.
Yes.
That they have the ability to bring people together, to bring ideas, to really unpack and simplify new evidence.
Love that.
And to get them excited. That's the first thing.
I love that. Yeah, that attitude.
I said at all level of the principal in the school, and also the other any key figure.
Sure.
Within the school system or any organization.
Sure, identifying that person.
Yes. And I think also identifying the resources that are in place within the organization, like doing some kind of an environmental scan, and they know to do it best than anyone outside.
Of course, because
they are local.
Yeah, sure.
And frankly, I think that people would listen to those local champions more than any researcher or any professor with lots of evidence and lots of knowledge.
Yeah.
Because it really speaks to their context, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's one quality of knowledge brokering. But it also requires, really connecting the school or any kind of organization with other resources that are available in the community in order to build those kind of supports.
Sure.
So that's another one, and there's a lot of management to do in this kind of managing of knowledge and transferring knowledge. Yeah. And
it's not a once-off, isn't it? It is it's a support process.
Yes, it is, and really need to think about how to collaborate with people, how to get the buy-in, how to really what to identify the really in the moment kind of sometimes there are external factors that are not in our control. But there's just a new let's say a new policy in the school or in the community that speaks about inclusion. So let's build on that.
Yes, you've got a strategy. Yes. Let's do it. I'm gonna.
And sometimes it's about competing kind of situations where say, this organization is already doing this and we're not. So those are also like external factors that you can build on, right? And the knowledge broker really identify those kind of moments that we can actually build on and really identifying good momentum, I would say.
I love that. That's so practical, Dana, because it's when you're talking that through, it really speaks to the quality of communication and the person having that kind of that passion and the desire to bring people with them. So finding the right person is really important. It has to be almost a self-identified person rather than you shall be the person that will bring this to life. It has to be someone that's got that buy-in. And the person who's supporting them and training them, they equally have to have that passion and desire to bring people on board. That in itself is a skill, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. And it could be a clinician but it needs to be a clinician that is quite of a leader.
Yes.
Yeah, I would say. Already people appreciate their opinion or something like that.
Sure, yeah. I think we can all think of people like that in our organization who's that natural leader that always wants to push things forward, you know. Yeah, exactly. I think that's really good. Yeah. What about the role of maybe like parents or people with lived experience leading that process? Has that been looked at or have you seen that work?
That's a very good point. I think it will make any resource that you will develop, and when it's done together with people with lived experience, will be better.
Yeah.
Will be more relevant.
Yeah.
And will be easily or likely to be adopted. Yeah. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So, but we haven't really worked with, but that's a good way to you know, I'm thinking about it like having a leader that is a youth or a parent within a specific organization. For example, let's say you're working in a school, so you can identify, or it naturally emerged, like you're saying, you're not identifying, but figures like parents from advisory committee, the parents advisory committees can suddenly take a role.
That's right. Yeah.
So I think it's really important to bring them into the table when trying to build capacity.
Yeah, and it's about the personality type that's really wants to take that on as well. It's not for everyone, isn't it? And and I love that. That's the part that's been highlighted, is that, you know, we're looking for some key skills here that we can really use and to build on that. Yeah,
exactly.
What would be, for people who are listening, the main message that you would like them to get from this mini symposium that you're doing?
I think like we need to start to think about the future after our intervention ends and think about what our clients have learned through the intervention, what they have gained, and how they can apply it to different situations. So because this is the real capacity building, right, aspect that we're looking for. So one key message is to really provide the children, youth, and families the opportunity to try it out on their own without our support for a little while, then come back to the picture.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what Mallory Ryan, my PhD student, is actually doing, and that's what she will present in the mini symposium, where we actually monitored and explored. We didn't know what to expect. How after the prep, we gave them 8 weeks work on a new ball on their own without the therapy support. Yes, we came back after, but I think like providing us opportunities to try out something and to lead something, right? I think that is key. Yeah. The other thing is to really understand its outcome measures. I know we might not talk about outcome measure, but I
was about to ask you an outcome measure. I can't help it because you're also the outcome measure lady about this as well. So I was going to say, how can we measure this? You know?
This is tough. Okay, this is not easy because, you know, the first thing that in many presentations that I do, there's always one person who's raising their hand and asking, did you do a follow-up? Are they still doing the activity? And yes, it's important to do a follow-up. But it's really important to know what to ask during that follow-up. Because it could be that 6 months after...
they could have evolved and changed.
Yeah, they not doing this activity anymore.
And that's okay.
And that's perfect. So yes, their score would be lower on that activity. But if they're doing a new activity that fits their interest, that's a good outcome. So we need to really be careful of what we are asking.
What are we measuring here?
Right? Because people are not going to do the same activity all their life. They might.
No, that's right.
And they may not. Particularly youth, they tend to...
they try different things. Yeah. I tried to crochet once. I crocheted for 2 weeks. I was happy and then I never did it again.
Exactly. And so we need to make sure also to set ourselves for success, right?
Yeah.
And really give them a good input that even though they're not continuing with the same activity, the fact that there is an another activity in place that they have pursued, that's a major achievement. That's a great success. The other thing that we might want to ask them is to ask them, do you feel that now you have more resources in place? Do you think you have more solutions in place?
Yes.
And see if that can be measurable. We can look at environmental supports using the YPAM and see before and after, for example.
Okay.
So those are the things that I think like we need to ask them, not only if those resources exist, do you utilize those resources?
Yeah.
That's important because, again, it's what we know. It's what is out there. I know how to find it. I know. Do you use it?
Yes.
So those are the things that I think we need to start asking when we're trying to measure capacity building.
Yeah. Next frontier.
Yes, now that's the next frontier now.
Yeah,
more frontiers.
I love it. There's always that's the thing. We have never arrived, and that makes this whole process really exciting because we're just following what children and the families want to live their good life.
Yeah,
and for us to advocate for services or funding, we do need to find a way to measure things, but otherwise they're not paid the right amount of attention as well. So, we do need to break it down and understand what the components are. And you're doing such great work in this area, Dana. Thank you.
And you just mentioned something that is really important because I think at the end of the day, building capacity will reduce the burden of the healthcare system.
Yeah.
Because when people know how to manage and how to find solutions and how to identify resources, there are lots of resources in the community. They exist. To find them, use them effectively.
That's right.
Then any kind of activity, hopefully, that will come up in the future, they'll be able to solve problems around it.
Absolutely. You don't have to keep replicating new services because you don't think people are using them, but actually they're there. We just need to help them to connect, and we can use our resources much more wisely.
Yeah.
Dana, final thing from you. What would your advice be, given this is a very F-word conference, for clinicians that are listening, what would your advice be on how they can integrate more F-words into their practice?
Well, I think I would say I would encourage others to focus more on the future of the child, of the youth, and thinking ahead. And preparing them and preparing also the environment. Not just the youth. Bear in mind, we need to make a shift. We can work with stakeholders in the community. We can build their capacity. So starting to broaden the stakeholders that we provide services to.
Beautiful.
And they, it's an exchange of knowledge. They have knowledge that we don't have.
That's right. Yeah.
So really have those collaborations.
Wonderful.
And really think about the future for the youth. So the F would be the future.
I love that. Thank you very much, Dana. That resonates through everything you've spoken about today. I loved the conversation. Thank you for this work and for sharing with us today. To all those listening, I hope you really enjoyed that as well. Really thought-provoking and there's such value and worth in diving into definitions. I never thought I'd be someone who always wanted to define things, but if you don't define them, you can't actually then create solutions to go about them or to measure them. So really important. I hope you enjoyed that. There's so much more to come. I'll talk to you all again really soon. Bye.